Imagine for a moment the fog of war swirling over the Mediterranean in 1943. The fate of millions hung in the balance as the Allied forces planned their bold strike against Axis powers entrenched in Europe. On the surface, this was a story of tanks, battleships, and soldiers storming beaches. But beneath the roar of artillery and the clash of armies was a tale far stranger. A tale where death itself became a weapon, and deception a decisive tool. This is the story of how a dead man, an anonymous body, was transformed into a masterstroke of intelligence that arguably helped turn the tide of World War II. It's a story filled with secrecy, daring imagination, and the eerie power of a lie so convincing it fooled one of the world's most ruthless military machines. This is the story of Operation Mincemeat, the dead man who helped win the war. In the spring of 1943, the Allies were preparing to launch a crucial offensive, the invasion of Sicily. This Mediterranean island was the gateway to Italy, and its capture would open the path for the Allies to push into mainland Europe, striking at the heart of Axis control. But the Axis powers were formidable, their forces dug in deep. A frontal assault risked staggering casualties. The British and American intelligence communities knew that brute force alone wouldn't suffice. They needed a plan to confuse, mislead, and manipulate the enemy, to convince the Germans that the true invasion target was somewhere else entirely. The goal, to pull German troops away from Sicily, leaving the island vulnerable. Crafting this deception required brilliance and boldness. It would become one of the most imaginative and unusual spy operations in history. It involved a dead man, carefully repurposed to become the ultimate Trojan horse. The man at the center of this strange story was Glyndwr Michael, a Welsh homeless man who died of pneumonia in London. Michael was an unremarkable figure, someone society might have overlooked even in life. But after his death, he became an unexpected linchpin in the war effort. British intelligence agents seized on his body, recognizing it as perfect for their plan. He was recent, unclaimed, and physically suitable to play the role they needed. A British Royal Marine officer, Major William Martin, whose fate would become the key to fooling the Nazis. The challenge was not just to place the body, but to create a full identity that would withstand the scrutiny of enemy agents. Major Martin had to be real in every sense. He needed a life, a past, personal effects, and documents that told a convincing story. Months of preparation followed. Intelligence officers worked tirelessly forging letters, receipts, photographs, and personal items. They fabricated a romance with love letters from Pam, Major Martin's fictional fiancée, filled with intimate details and heartfelt emotions. Every piece of paper was designed to feel authentic, to create a web of verisimilitude that would make the Germans believe Major Martin's existence and the documents he carried. His uniform was immaculate, his belongings carefully selected to match the persona. The team even planted mundane items, a theater ticket stub, a train timetable, a bus fare receipt, to reinforce the illusion of a real life interrupted abruptly. The body was carefully prepared, dry and preserved as best as possible for the task ahead. The next step was delivery. The body had to be placed where the enemy would find it, and the documents would inevitably reach German intelligence. On April 30th, 1943, in a lonely bay near Huelva, Spain, the body was released into the water inside a canister, sealed against the sea. Spain was neutral territory, but its government was known to lean towards the Axis. The British knew German spies operated there, and it was likely the documents would fall into their hands. What happened next is a testament to the power of deception. Spanish authorities recovered the body and, after initial investigations, passed the documents on to the Germans. The enemy was convinced. The forged plans indicated the Allies intended to invade Greece and Sardinia, not Sicily. The impact was immediate and profound. German commanders redeployed troops to Greece and Sardinia, leaving Sicily far less defended. When Allied forces launched Operation Husky in July 1943, they faced a weaker enemy than expected. The invasion succeeded with far fewer casualties than might have occurred otherwise, opening a vital front in the war. The success of Operation Mincemeat was not just a stroke of luck, but the result of meticulous planning, relentless attention to detail, and the unflinching commitment of a handful of men who understood that sometimes war is won not on the battlefield, but in the shadows of intelligence. What makes the story even more poignant is the fate of Glyndwr Michael. An ordinary man, forgotten in life, became immortalized posthumously as the unwitting hero of one of the most clever acts of wartime deception. His family remained unaware for decades that their relative had played a crucial role in the war effort, through his death. Yet, this operation also raises deep questions about the ethics of war. Using a dead man's body as a prop in a grand deception challenges ideas of dignity, respect, and humanity. But in the harsh realities of total war, such sacrifices were deemed necessary. Operation Mincemeat also showcased the power of narrative in conflict. It wasn't just about guns or strategy, but storytelling, crafting a believable tale that could change enemy perceptions and decisions. In this way, the war was fought with words, lies, and shadows, just as fiercely as with bullets. The British government kept Operation Mincemeat a closely guarded secret for many years. When it finally emerged in the 1950s, it shocked the world. It became the subject of books, films, and documentaries, enchanting audiences with its blend of tragedy, cunning, and surreal humor. The legacy of this operation continues. Modern intelligence agencies study it as a textbook example of deception and psychological warfare. It highlights the enduring truth that in war, victory often belongs to those who can think beyond the obvious, use creativity under pressure, and harness even the most unlikely tools to their advantage. Beyond the immediate wartime impact, Operation Mincemeat altered how intelligence was perceived. It validated the importance of psychological operations and subterfuge, laying groundwork for future espionage tactics in the Cold War and beyond. It also serves as a reminder of the countless unnamed individuals whose stories are lost in history's grand narratives. Glyndwr Michael's life may have been forgotten, but through this remarkable episode, his story endures, a haunting symbol of sacrifice and the strange ways history is shaped. So, when you reflect on the grand sweep of World War II, remember that amid the clashing armies and decisive battles, a dead man carried secrets that saved lives, altered strategies, and helped tip the balance of power. This is the extraordinary tale of how deception, courage, and a homeless man's body became a weapon more lethal than any gun. A story that proves in war, sometimes the most unlikely heroes come from beyond the grave.